November 2026. Mark that date on your calendar. Circle it in red ink, because that is not just another month. That is the mathematical deadline for the end of the financial world as you know it. Most people think World War III will start with a missile launch. They are looking at the sky, waiting for mushrooms clouds. They are wrong. The war has already started. And the weapon isn't nuclear. It is financial. It is silent. And it is aimed directly at the one thing you cannot afford to lose: your retirement fund, your 401k, your life savings. Right now, as you watch this video, the Chinese government is executing a secret directive. It is called Document 79. Western intelligence analysts call it something else. They call it the Delete America Directive. It is a mandatory order from Beijing to all state-owned enterprises. The order is simple: remove American technology, remove American software, and most importantly, remove American debt from their balance sheets by 2027. But here is the catch. To meet a 2027 deadline, the massive liquidation has to happen in 2026. That means they are pulling out, not slowly, not carefully, but systematically and totally. They are taking an estimated $8 trillion of liquidity out of the Western system. $8 trillion. That is more money than the GDP of Germany and Japan combined. You might be sitting there thinking, I don't own Chinese stocks, so I'm safe. I have a diversified 401k with good American companies, so I'm fine. Let me tell you the uncomfortable truth. That is exactly what they want you to think. Because when $8 trillion leaves the room, it creates a vacuum. It's a black hole in the global financial system. And nature abhors a vacuum. Someone has to fill that hole. Someone has to buy the debt that China is selling. Someone has to prop up the market when the biggest buyer walks away. Guess who that someone is? It's not the hedge funds. It's not the banks. It's you. It is your pension fund. It is your retirement account. You are the buyer of last resort, and you don't even know it. This video is not about geopolitics. This is a crime scene investigation. And the victim of the crime is your financial future. I am going to show you the evidence. I am going to show you the mechanism they will use to lock your money in. And most importantly, I am going to show you the only way to get out before the door slams shut. The mechanism of the trap. To understand how they will steal your wealth, you have to understand one concept. It is a concept that is never taught in school. It is never mentioned on CNBC, but it is the favorite tool of bankrupt governments throughout history. It is called financial repression. It sounds complicated, but it is actually very simple. Imagine a government that is drowning in debt, like the United States right now. $34 trillion in debt. Interest payments alone are now higher than the entire defense budget. When China stops buying that debt and starts selling it, interest rates should skyrocket. Rates should go to 10%, 12%, maybe 15% to attract new buyers. But if rates go to 15%, the US government goes bankrupt instantly. They cannot afford the interest payments. So, they have a choice. Option A: default on the debt and admit they are broke. Option B: force someone to lend them money at low rates, even though it's a bad deal. Which one do you think they will choose? They will choose option B. They always choose option B. This is financial repression. It is the art of stealing money from savers to pay off government debt. And they do it using inflation and regulation. Here is how the trap works. Step 1. They let inflation run hot. Let's say inflation is 8% or 10%. Step 2. They keep interest rates low artificially. Let's say your bank account or your government bond pays you 4%. So, inflation is taking 10%. The bank is giving you 4%. You are losing 6% of your purchasing power every single year. That doesn't sound like a lot. But over 10 years, that wipes out half of your wealth. It is a silent tax. It is invisible, and it is perfectly legal. But here's the problem for the government. You are not stupid. If you see you are losing money, you will take your money out. You will buy gold. You will buy Bitcoin. You will buy foreign real estate. You will leave the system. So, for financial repression to work, they need one more thing. They need a cage. They need to stop you from leaving. This is where your 401k becomes the target. Think about it. Where is the biggest pile of money in America? It's not in the billionaires' pockets. They have tax shelters. It's in the retirement accounts of the middle class. Trillions of dollars. Sitting there, waiting, and the government controls the rules of those accounts. They can change the rules overnight, and they have already started. Look at the SEC rules passed in 2023 regarding money market funds. They implemented something called mandatory liquidity fees. They don't say you can't withdraw your money. That would cause a panic. Instead, they say, if there is market stress, we will charge you a fee to withdraw. Just a small fee to stabilize the system. It starts as a fee, it ends as a gate. This is the mechanism. They create a crisis. They claim they need to stabilize the market. And they lock the doors to the burning building with you inside. The trigger, WHY 2026. So why am I focused on 2026? Why not 2030? Why not next week? Because we have to look at the other side of the chessboard. You have to look at what China's building. For the last 50 years, the US dollar had a superpower. It was the only way to buy oil. It was the petrodollar. If China wanted oil, they needed dollars. If Europe wanted oil, they needed dollars. This created a permanent demand for US dollars. It allowed America to print money without consequences. But that era is over. Dead over. China has launched a project called mBridge. It's DNES for Multiple Central Bank Digital Currency Bridge. It sounds boring, but it is a dollar killer. It is a digital payment highway that connects China, Thailand, Hong Kong, and the United Arab Emirates. Wait, did you catch that last one? United Arab Emirates, a major oil producer, sitting right there on the platform. Saudi Arabia has also announced they are joining the project. This means for the first time in history, countries can buy oil directly from the Middle East using Chinese yuan, using digital currency, bypassing the US dollar completely, bypassing the American banking system completely. No SWIFT code needed. No New York intermediary needed. No US permission needed. This system reached its minimum viable product stage in mid-2024. It is live. It is testing. And by 2026, it will be fully scalable. That is why the timeline is 2026. China is not just selling American debt out of anger. They are selling it because they have built the exit ramp. They don't need the dollar anymore. So, let's put the pieces together. Piece number 1. Document 79 orders a purge of American assets by 2027. Piece number 2. Project mBridge provides the technical way to trade without dollars. Piece number 3. The U.S. debt load is spiraling out of control. When these three pieces collide in 2026, we get the liquidity shock. China dumps the last of its treasuries. Saudi Arabia stops accepting dollars for oil exclusively. The demand for the dollar collapses. The demand for U.S. debt collapses. And suddenly, the U.S. government has a massive hole to fill. And they will look at your 401k and say, it's for national security. The scenario, what IT looks like for you. Let me paint a picture of what this looks like. Not in a boardroom, but at your kitchen table. It's a Tuesday morning in late 2026. You turn on the news. The headlines say, market volatility due to foreign selling. The Dow is down 2,000 points. Bond yields are spiking. You log into your retirement account to check the damage. You see a red banner at the top of the screen. It says, due to extreme market conditions, temporary withdrawal limits are in effect. We are acting to protect long-term shareholder value. You try to sell your bond funds to move to cash. You can't. The button is grayed out. You call your broker. The line is busy. Or maybe you get a recorded message. We are experiencing higher than normal call volume. This is not fiction. This happened in the UK in 2022 during the LDI pension crisis. Pension funds almost collapsed overnight. The Bank of England had to step in and print billions to stop it. But in 2026, the scale will be global. And here is the terrifying part. The government will offer a solution. They always offer a solution. They will introduce guaranteed retirement accounts. They will say the stock market is too risky for seniors. They will say they want to protect you. So, they will offer to convert your 401k into a government-guaranteed bond. They will promise you a safe return, maybe 3%, but inflation will be 12%. Do you see the trap now? They don't steal your money. They steal your purchasing power. They lock you into an asset that is guaranteed to lose value every year. And they call it safety. And because of the crisis, because of the panic, millions of people will accept it. They will beg for it. Because they are terrified of losing everything. This is the ultimate rug pull. The wealth transfer from the people to the state. The bail-in reality. There is one more layer to this nightmare. The banks. If the bond market crashes, the banks crash. Banks hold massive amounts of government debt. When the value of that debt drops, the banks become insolvent. We saw this with Silicon Valley Bank in 2023. But in 2026, it won't be one regional bank. It will be the system. And you need to know about the Dodd-Frank Act, specifically Title II. It talks about orderly liquidation authority. It creates the legal framework for a bail-in. We all know what a bailout is. The government uses taxpayer money to save the bank. A bail-in is different. A bail-in means the bank uses the depositor's money to save itself. Legally, when you deposit money in a bank, it is no longer your money. You are an unsecured creditor of the bank. You gave them a loan. If they go bankrupt, you just get in line with everyone else. The FDIC insurance. It has about $120 billion in its fund. There are over $9 trillion in insured deposits. Do the math. If the system cracks, insurance covers pennies on the dollar. This is why the Delete America directive is so dangerous. It triggers the domino effect that activates these laws. Laws that are already on the books. Laws that were written for exactly this scenario. The shield, how to escape. I know this is heavy. I know this makes your stomach churn. It should. But panic is not a strategy. Action is a strategy. You have a window of opportunity. We are in the calm before the storm. China is moving. But the trap hasn't snapped shut yet. You can still move. You need to position yourself in non-systemic assets. What is a non-systemic asset? It is something that is not someone else's liability. If you own a bond, that is someone's debt. If they don't pay, you lose. If you own a bank deposit, that is the bank's liability. If they fail, you lose. You need assets that stand alone. Asset number 1, physical gold, not GLD, not an ETF, real gold, in your hand or in a private vault outside the banking system. Gold is the only financial asset that is not simultaneously someone else's liability. Central banks know this. China knows this. That's why they are buying it by the ton. Do what they do, not what they say. Asset number 2, productive land, farmland, timberland, even a paid-off home with a garden, in a hyperinflationary depression. Things you can eat and things you can live in become the most valuable currency. Asset number 3, direct ownership of essential equities. I'm not talking about the S&P 500 index fund. I'm talking about owning shares in companies that produce things people need to survive. Energy companies, defense contractors, food producers, mining companies. These sectors will survive the currency reset because no matter what happens to the dollar, people need to eat. Nations need to defend borders. Lights need to turn on. Get out of the speculative tech bubble and get into the real world. Asset number 4, self-sovereignty. Reduce your debt. If you have variable rate debt, pay it off immediately. When rates spike in 2026, variable debt will be a death sentence, and build a cash buffer outside the bank. Keep enough cash at home to survive for 3 months if the ATMs go down. This isn't paranoia. This is insurance. The final warning. The Delete America directive is real. The $8 trillion exit is happening. The deadline is approaching. You have been warned. The government has a plan to save itself. That plan involves using your wealth as the fuel. They are counting on you being passive. They are counting on you trusting the system. They are counting on you waiting until it is too late. Don't give them that satisfaction. Don't be the collateral damage in their war. Take control of your financial destiny today. Look at your 401k. Look at your bank statement and ask yourself one question. If the rules change tomorrow, is this money really mine? If the answer scares you, then you know what you have to do. I have just scratched the surface of the legal traps they have set for you. There is a specific list of assets that are legally exempt from bail-ins, assets that they cannot touch even in a crisis. I am compiling that lifeboat list for my next video. You do not want to miss that. It could be the difference between retiring in dignity or retiring in poverty. Subscribe right now. Click the notification bell, because the timeline is moving faster than you think, and the next update is critical. Stay safe, stay prepared, and I will see you on the other side.